Well, hello there, my name is HW, and thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, I pretty much love the Kemper. I mean, I even bought this toaster just because it kind of looked like a Kemper. Look at that. It really does. They got the green just right. So when my friends over at Mission sent me this Gemini 2 cab, I really wanted to check it out. And what I found was, this cab is really unique. It really has some features that is unlike anything else that is out there right now on the market. First of all, it's stereo. And why is that so important? Well, what's all this on the back? See, the Kemper, the Helix, the Axe, it gives us tons of ins and outs. So when I'm monitoring my guitar live, if I'm gonna send front of house a stereo signal and I wanna use a big cab on stage, how could I settle for anything less than stereo? Okay, now I know we can't see through this grill cloth, but if we could, we'd find two big 12-inch drivers, just like a 212 cab. And that's sort of the thing about the Mission Engineering Gemini 2. It's a lot like a big 212 cab. In fact, of all the FRFR speakers that I've checked out, this one it's constructed like a cab. It feels like a cab. Now, it's a little heavy like a cab. I will admit that. There are some lighter things on the market, but most FRFR speakers, even ones in larger boxes, are just giving you one speaker. What's really cool about this is those two speakers enable you to run stereo into one unit. Okay, now you're probably thinking, two 12-inch drivers in the same cabinet, how wide could the stereo spread be? Here's the answer for you, it's 87 degrees, and it's that because the tweeter is actually mounted to the center of the speaker. That gives you an it's not separate components. The tweeter is part of the driver. So that gives you this 87-degree spread, which means if you want people to hear this from the stage, that's a pretty wide spread. And what's really cool about this cabinet is when you stand in front of it, it actually sounds like the field is wide. I mean, it sounds to me like there's two speakers 4 or 5 feet apart. Stereo really is kind of a magic thing, and this thing does it. Okay, now one of the really cool features here is this Empower knob. This is what makes the Gemini 2 unique. Really, it's that you can go from all the way FRFR down to a frequency response that's more like a guitar cabinet. Now, I talked to the guys at Mission and they told me something about this. If you put it all the way flat, a lot of people say it sounds bright, and it does, and that's on purpose. This cab was engineered so that acoustic players would be able to use it with an acoustic guitar. So all the way on flat actually has a little more high end than you might expect when you compare it to some of the other FRFR cabinets on the market. If you think about how many people in churches especially are using Kempers and Helixes for not just electric setups, but to switch to acoustic sometimes, this makes this cab really valuable for them too, because that extra high end is really going to make your acoustic guitar sound a little more natural and sound a little more like an acoustic guitar. If you want to get a response that's more like the other FRFR cabinets, just back off that flat just a little bit. I find around 3 to 4, 3 or 330 or something. Imagine a clock face. That really gets you kind of where the other FRFR cabinets sit. And then, of course, you can go all the way down to guitar cab. Now, I'm going to get a room mic out. I'm going to close mic this and mic it with a room mic, and I'm going to show you what that sounds like. I'm going to show you the sweep of this thing, and you're going to hear what that Empower knob can do. Okay, now here is what that Empower knob does. I've got it on FRFR mode, but I backed it off a little because remember, full FRFR on this cabinet actually has an extended high range that will really work well for acoustic guitars. For electric, I backed it off just a little bit, and this puts it in the range where other FRFR cabinets would live. Check this out. Here's what it sounds like. Okay, now I've backed the Empower knob off, and it's like halfway between guitar cabinet and FRFR. Check that out. this is full guitar cabinet mode. This is meant to kind of recreate the frequencies, the limited, more focused frequencies of a guitar driver, like a traditional guitar speaker. Check that out. Now, one of the biggest questions I get is, HW, what is the best guitar cabinet for amp in the room tone? And that's a tough one to answer because, you know, the Helix, the Kemper, and all these units, they're really designed to give you a mic'd guitar tone. But what is amp in the room tone? Well, amp in the room tone, I think, is the sensation of having a tube amp in a room, turning it probably too loud, hearing a ton of room reflection, pointing at your legs, you know, low on the floor like this cabinet is sitting, rather than up at your ears like, you know, studio monitors. So I think when people are after that amp in the room sound, I think the only way to really go about getting it is to get a cabinet that kind of is built and looks like a guitar cabinet. And this thing really is. I mean, it's two big 12-inch drivers. You can treat this like any other guitar cabinet in the room. You know, set it, put the Kemper on top, put the Helix, you know, maybe on the floor or on top if you've got a rack Helix or the Axe stuff. And treat it like a guitar cabinet. You know, stand as far back as you would a guitar amplifier and, you know, turn it too loud, point it at your legs. That's what we do when we play tube amps. We put them a little too loud for our bedroom so that the neighbors get upset, so that your mom gets upset, your wife gets upset. I mean, it's just what you do. And I think this cabinet can actually do that pretty well. The other great thing is it's limiting the guitar frequencies back down to what a typical, you know, Celestian or warehouse guitar speaker would produce. You know, all the ones that we love. It's when you mic a guitar cabinet, ribbon mics go up way past the frequency response of the speakers, but the speakers are producing air pressure and stuff that responds to sort of this high-end frequency that gets picked up by the microphones that's actually not within the frequency range of a guitar driver. And that's what FRFR does. It extends that range and it gives you a flat response. It's not coloring anything. But this actually gives you the ability to take away some of that sonic signature of the microphones there and of the produced finished sound and bring your, you know, your Kemper or your Helix back to something that sounds a little more like an amp in the room by using that guitar cabinet setting. And you have everywhere in between. That's what's cool. It's not just FRFR, or guitar cabinet. It's FRFR, guitar cabinet, and everywhere in between. Plus, all the way up, you get those extended frequencies for acoustic guitar, which is a very cool feature. I like this cab the more I use it, really. I mean, the more I use it, it sounds great. I'd say on guitar cabinet, it sounds the most like a guitar cabinet of any FRFR that I've tried. But it's not modeling any particular speaker. It's just supposed to give you what's in the profile or in the Helix model, but just with a more limited frequency range. Well, I've been HW. Thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. Hey, the good guys at Mission sent me this cab, and they wanted me to let you know that Black Friday through Cyber Monday, they're having a big sale, like a big Black Friday sale. You know, Black Friday, you can save all sorts of money and go line up and beat each other up to get TVs and stuff. But you don't have to do that to save some money on the Mission Engineering stuff. They're going to have everything on sale for 15% off. So if you want to get a Mission Gemini, the Gemini 1, the Stereo Gemini 2, expression pedals, they're making a bunch of cool stuff over there at Mission Engineering. And thank you so much to the guys, Paul and everybody on the Mission team for sending me out this cabinet. And check them out. Hey, if you're looking at some Mission stuff, I've been using their expression pedals for years. This is the first Mission cab I've got, and it's great. Check out their stuff. 15% off all weekend. That's a great time to save, and you don't have to beat anybody up in front of a Walmart to do it. I think that's in the spirit of Christmas. I've been HW. Thank you so much for watching. HW out.